Hello everyone. Hello, this is the former City of Oxford High School for boys, founded in 1881. Look at their clock up there, and then see the year foundation 1880 when they started building it, and then the city's coat of arms below the clock, the ox fording the river. And it's got in the top right hand corner, looks like the crest, or the coat of arms rather, of the City of London. So Oxford, but actually the etymology is actually Ossia, as in water in Celtic language, like Isca in Irish, Waterford. And then the Lord is my light, motto of Oxford University, and truth is strength over here, these Latin mottos. So it was founded on the initiative of Thomas Hill Green, a progressively minded Don at Balliol College, Oxford. Liberal philosopher, and he wanted an educational ladder, and because he noticed that at Oxford almost everybody at Oxford University was upper class, a few were middle class, and nobody was working class, so he said he wanted to make it practical for those from modest means to access university education. Okay, and then this school unfortunately closed in 1966, or rather you could say it merged with another school. It moved to Cowney Road. There's Oxford Spires Academy. So anyway, by far the most famous alumnus of this school is T.E. Lawrence of Arabia. Obviously his father's surname was actually Chapman. The house they lived on Polstead Road still stands. So this is a middle class or an upper class school, and a few working class boys as well. So Ronnie I always get them mixed up. Ronnie Barker of the two Ronnies comedy duo was here as well. So just after the Second World War, there's Ronnie Corbett, Ronnie Barker, the two Ronnies, and they're very famous comedians. They're both dead now, and there's a nearby pub called the Four Candles, which is an allusion to their comedy sketch of all these, I forget the word, well, sort of like homophones, four candles or fork handles, this misunderstanding in a shop. So this is the school, and obviously they had some of their playing fields here, not very extensive, but they've allowed it to sort of be rewilded. Used to arrive in Oxford very, very early in the morning on the bus from London, and sometimes doze under that tree. But I like the way they've allowed it to go like this, so we don't want too many manicured lawns. And then it was the classics department of Oxford University, and later there was the history faculty library, which it is now, from about 2003, and so it goes on. I might go in there later, film inside. So what else was I going to say about that? I mean, Lord Krebs, who was then Principal of Jesus College, Oxford, he studied here, and so on. I'm not sure if anyone else you particularly would have heard of. So although it's sort of 1880s architecture, in a way it looks older. Let's look at the local stone, yellowish, is almost like Bath stone. I think quite visually appealing. And that labor vincit omnia, the Latin motto, as in work conquers all. Why not love conquers all? Okay, so by endeavour you can achieve anything. That's the idea. I wonder what this outbuilding is here, and that's the edge of it. So it stands on the corner of New Inn Hall Street and George Street. I'm not sure if it was affiliated to the Church of England. Now, you had a sister school, Oxford High School for Girls, which still exists in North Oxford, is still going, and is still held in high regard. That's an independent day school about 2 miles north of here. And when it was founded about 10 years after Dons were allowed to marry, the University Test Act. So some of the Dons had children, but they didn't necessarily have that much money. They couldn't always afford them to be going to the top public schools. Public schools are open to the public, just like the Ritz, if you can afford to pay. Okay, so yeah, that's it. The former City of Oxford High School. Sometimes they added for boys, because girls and boys were almost always educated separately, certainly at secondary level in those days. And that T.H. Green, who helped to establish, but he was also into temperance, as in not necessarily against alcohol, certainly against getting drunk. So there is more to life than inebriation, and let's have some positive activities in your free time, as in sport or education or music or theatre or anything really. Okay, so trees were planted here in 1979. Is it these two? No, that can't be that. That's too big for that. Maybe this one, by the Old Boys Association. So they had some sports club, which I think is going to this day, but I think they're not for the old boys, because the last boys, I say, left in 1966. And so they'd be rather long in the tooth. There's a cinema across the road. I remember 1997, the first night I spent in Oxford, there's some Bond film coming out. It was in St. Peter's, and some of them were going off to watch this. They're dressing up as Bond or Bond girls. That's a bit racialist to call them Bond girls. Oh, if they're over 18, you can't call them girls, you have to call them women. Sorry! And there we go on. All right. So what do you think? You know, the classical architecture, the arches and Corinthian columns. Sometime I'll go in. So he was really into moral philosophy, was T.H. Green. This is a view out of the front of the school. And so he established this, and saying that it would help that people go on to other, very useful careers, if not to university education, of course, because in those days, only about 1% of the population went on to tertiary education. Right, I'll switch it off now.